Hi guys, it's Matt here from MCS-books, and today I'm going to do my February TBR. But this is not any normal February TBR, this is my Femmeuary TBR. Now for those of you who don't know, Femmeuary is a concept made by Lauren from Lauren and the Books, in which for the whole month of February she is going to be reading, discussing, watching all things to do with women, feminism, and just celebrating all these aspects of our culture. Now I think this is a great idea, so I'm going to join in, and this is going to be my TBR. I'm going to list all the books that I'm going to read for Femmeuary, and then I'm going to also list some of the movies that I want to watch for this month. I want to start this video by explaining why feminism is important for me. Feminism is about equality between men and women. It's the breaking down of hegemonic, patriarchal gender stereotypes. It's about allowing women to be seen and deemed as equals in all facets of life, but it's also about liberating men from the concept of what it is to be masculine and sort of allowing them to be able to express sensitivity and express themselves in a language that has otherwise been denied to them. It's about creating a safe space for everybody and allowing us to explore gender and our sexualities and all facets of ourselves through this lens of feminism. There's so much more to it, and I've studied a bit of gender before in my degrees, but this is just a sort of brief mentioning of why feminism for me is important. So I'm going to leave a link below for Lauren's video so you can understand what her aims are for February and for the month ahead, and then she'll also be posting videos for her TBR, etc., and you'll find it all on her channel. And I hope that you are going to be participating too, and if you are, let me know in the comments below. Now, to my TBR, I have got 6 books, okay, and they're quite a nice mixture of books here. I got 2 non-fiction, 1 play, and 3 fiction. Okay, and all the fictions are from kind of different genres too. So I want to start first with the non-fiction. So non-fiction books I've taken out from my university library, and these are books that I feel very interested in. They're not part of my course, although I have studied one of these authors before, but they are definitely topics that I personally am interested in and kind of want to explore further. So the first book is this one. It's Staying with the Trouble, Making Kin in the Cthulhucene by Donna Haraway. Donna Haraway is a great feminist academic. She talks a lot about the post-human, and she talks a lot about ethnology within like the sciences and the connections between humans and animals and natural life. This book is a sort of examination of sort of the end of the Anthropocene and the start of trying to connect to the animal kingdom and the plant life, and sort of analysing how we can like better ourselves and better our future in the midst of an ecological disaster which could be coming from a sort of feminist post-human perspective. And I think it's going to sound really interesting. It's definitely going to be all about equality. She's got a powerful and magical voice, and I'm super keen to get to this one. I also have to read this one first because it's been requested by somebody else from the library, unfortunately. So this will be the first book I read in February. The other non-fiction book that I would like to read is this one. It's Surrealism and Women it's edited by Caws, Rudolph Kuenzil and Gwen Raaberg. Now I've always been interested in surrealism, and I've been reading a lot about it recently, and what's struck me the most is kind of the lack of women in surrealism. So there was an image that I saw online. I'll post a picture here, and the image was of Giselle Prasanos when she was, I think, 14 years old, and you can see very well that she was like a spectacle to behold. The men of surrealism kind of saw women as a tool of surrealism, and with this image in particular, they thought it was so wonderful to see a woman represented as like the virginal woman and the purity, and they wanted her to stop her education in order to retain this image of purity and naivety and womanhood that the men of surrealism were very passionate about. For me, this is very eye-opening about the surrealist movement, because in some ways they were very liberal and liberating for so many voices, but in other ways they were also quite damning of the female and objectifying the woman within their movement. So this collection of essays is all from women, or is about the part that women play. So there's some that titled Speaking with Forked Tongues, Male Discourse in Female Surrealism. And I just think this is going to be really powerful, really interesting, and a great chance to learn about more women within the surrealist movement and empowering us to sort of go beyond what we normally associate with Surrealism. So yes, that's another one I'm super excited to get to. Now I'm going to talk about the play that I'm going to read. This play is Christina, the Girl King by Michel, Marc, Bouchard. Now I'm super excited. This playwright wrote Tom at the Farm, which was adapted into film by Xavier Dolan. Now, Christina the Girl King is about Queen Christina of Sweden. She was a powerful woman in her time. She was queen, and this was in a time when religion kind of ruled Europe. Now, she was super interested in the sciences and the progression of knowledge, which kind of then went against the church. It was quite rebellious in her time. She explored womanhood and femininity through philosophy and through science, and she kind of then became aware and spoke about her love for another woman. And now, of course, because of the time that she was in, there was a lot of pressures for her to marry, and she actually ended up abdicating her position on the throne and going into the Catholic Church, which of course sounds like she's going against everything that she believed in prior. But in a way, some people view this as a liberating move, because by doing that and by avowing herself to the Catholic Church, she then got rid of the burden of having to marry and didn't marry. So some people may see it as a bad move on her behalf. Some people see it as like a very powerful move where she took her own agency. I think she's going to be a really interesting figure, and this play, I hope, will explore it very well. So I'm keen to get to know more about Christina, Queen of Sweden, and enjoy my time reading it. Okay, so now for the fiction. The first one I'm going to talk about, part of my sort of reading resolutions of this year. I want to read more SFF. And I thought this was a perfect opportunity to finally get into female fantasy authors. Because of course, I feel the genre is dominated by the male, and there's so many great female writers within the genre that perhaps may go under the radar. Now I'm going to be reading Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is the first in the Farseer trilogy. Robin Hobb, of course, is probably one of the most prolific female authors within the fantasy genre, and I feel like it will be a good stepping stone into reading more fantasy and more female writers within the scene. I'm definitely inspired by Kitty G. I'll post a link to her video below where she discusses her favourite female authors within SFF, because I've got loads of names from that list. And I hope that you might find some names too. Robin Hobb, I feel, is a great inspiration to female writers who want to break into the industry, who want to break into the genre, because in a way it could be seen that she paved the way and she allowed the women's voices within the genre to be heard. So I'm excited to start this, although I do feel like I'm then going to have to then buy her entire works. I've heard such great things about this series and all of her writing. The next book I'm going to read is also SFF, but this one is children's. So I'm going to read A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine. I'm sure many people have heard of this book. It's, of course, it's written by a woman, it's in the children's genre, it's going to be fun and exciting. It's also being adapted into film by Disney, and I think it's going to be released this year. Now, I can't remember the name of the director, but she's a female director that's going to be doing this, and she's a woman of colour too. So I feel this story and this film that's going to be released is just a great empowerment for women getting into heavily male-dominated industry. So yeah, I think this would be a fun, happy little read. So the final book I'm going to read is this one. It's Hot Milk by Deborah Levy. Now, I don't actually know much about this book at all. The back gives very little. All it says is, "Today I dropped my laptop on the concrete floor of a bar built on the beach. My laptop has all my life in it and knows more about me than anyone else. So what I am saying is that if it is broken, so am I." That's all I'm going into knowing about this book. It was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2016, and apart from that, I don't know anything. Now, the reason I want to read this book this month is because this book was suggested to me by my mum, and I'm from a family of 4 guys and then my mum. So my mum was like a big, important female figure in my life for a long time, and I really appreciate having her as a sort of empowering female figure in that way. And I like the fact that she and I can share books and share reading. So she read this book. I can't remember if she said she liked it actually or not, but she did suggest that I might like it, so I'm keen to get to it and would be good for this month. So now let me talk about the movies that I'm going to watch. I think most of these movies are actually on Netflix. I don't know which regions they are, but I'm sure you can look and check and find out. The first movie I want to watch is Evolution by Lucile Hadžihalilovic. I don't know how to pronounce her surname, but I'll post an image of the movie poster and a link to the IMDb page down below. This film just sounds great. It's set in a seaside town where there are only women and young boys. It's about a boy who finds a body washed up on the shore, and he kind of then starts examining what happens to the boys when they start growing up and disappearing. So I feel that it's going to be like a bit creepy, but great nonetheless. So the next one is The Invitation by Karyn Kasama. Now, this I don't know much about. All I know is that it's sort of, there's an invitation, of course, given the name, to a dinner party or something, and then just things start unraveling and the past is haunting the main character. I think it's just going to be a very human film, very interesting to kind of track the progress and track the way that memories affect the present day and stuff. So, sounds great to me. Now, the third film that I want to watch is Casting JonBenet by Kitty Green. This is about the death or the disappearance of JonBenet. I don't know the figure, to be honest. It's kind of like a true crime story / documentary. It's all about people's accounts of the event whilst they're sort of auditioning to play a role in a retelling of the event. And it sounds just great. Like, that format sounds really intriguing to me. So I'm keen to figure out how it's actually going to go about, whether it is non-fiction or a fictional retelling. Who knows, but we'll soon see. Now the next movie is called One of Us by Heidi, Ewing and Rachel Grady. This is a documentary. These two, I think, are prolific documentary makers, and this documentary is about women in a Jewish community or perhaps cult. I'm not entirely sure, but it's about these women who want to break out and want to get out of this sort of community and the pressures that it's been put on them. And it's just a documentary tracking their progress, I guess. I don't really know much about the topics. It'll be interesting to kind of learn more about it and understand how these women move around these situations and try to break free from societal pressures around them. Absolutely perfect for this month, February. Yeah, keen to get to that one. And the last movie I want to check out is called My Happy Family. Now, I'm not entirely sure how to say the writer and one of the director's names. It's Nana Ekvtimishvili. Oh, I'm really sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it at all. But I'll post a link to the IMDb page down below. All of these films will be linked down below, so you can check it out. And it's set in a Georgian family where there's a lot of pressure for women to assimilate to the patriarchy. It's just about one woman who decides to move out of her family and live by herself, which I think is which is a radical move in these times in this area. So it fits the theme of Femmeuary so well. You're really interested to kind of see a different culture's perspective of feminism and female empowerment. So one last thing that I want to add that I'm going to do during February is that I've started a new series of videos titled Bad Book, Good Movie, where I sort of examine a bad book, in my opinion, and match it with a good director. So for the entirety of February, when I do these videos, I'm always going to be matching them with female directors. So if you're interested in that, keep your eye on this channel and you'll see these videos up. So thank you for watching this TBR for February. Let me know if you're taking part. Let me know what your TBRs are, what movies, what books you're going to read, watch, and everything, and if you're going to do any fun activities to empower feminism. So thanks again. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time for another video. Bye bye.